If you're watching this video, you're probably looking for solutions to grow your money faster. You want whole life insurance, you want infinite banking, you even want some secret sauce. But here's the truth. Whole life insurance, infinite banking, secret sauce doesn't fix a broken foundation. And before we start talking about wealth, we have to understand how we can't destroy it. My name is Darius.
And I'm Carmen. So by the end of this video, we're going to share with you 4 ways you can become indestructible as it pertains to your income. Because the main thing that we want to make sure is that we eliminate any risk that comes your way so that when you start your next whole life insurance policy, we can use our cash value freely. We can do whatever we want with it because all the holes are plugged. So let's get into it.
Right, because if your income stops, then your infinite banking strategy stops, then your investment stops, and then your lifestyle is completely different from what you expected it. So when we talk about risk, we're talking about these 4 things. We're talking about death. We're talking about chronic illness or disability. We're talking about loss of employment or disruption in income. And we're also talking about, let's say you have the option to quit or do something else. Yeah, walk away and focus on your passion.
So the very first one that Darius mentioned is death. The reason why we're bringing this up is because what I want you to do, Wealth Nation, is for a moment, take inventory. If you pass away tomorrow, who is going to be dependent on that income that is no longer coming in? Right? Is it your children, your spouse, your brothers and sisters, your mom and daddy, whomever it is? What do you currently have in place to keep the lights on?
Right.
Okay? Because at Wealth Nation, we're not just here to sign you up for your next whole life insurance policy. We're here to discuss what's going on in the background so that we can make sure when we present you with options that we're considering the entire pizza, right? We're not just like giving you one slice and it doesn't align with anything else that you're doing. So we want to create a holistic approach that addresses everything. So that's why we're starting with death. If you pass away tomorrow, do you have any coverage to protect your family? And truth be told, more Americans insure their cell phones than they do themselves. So we need to fix that.
Right. So the question that you have to ask yourself, how much do you currently have? And of the amount of life insurance that you currently have, is it tied to your employer that life insurance would be gone if you were to leave your job? So let's think about these things as we go through the video and see like what pertains to you. Because if any of these boxes aren't checked, then you are at risk of destroying your system before you even build it.
And the thing that I wanted to add to this, of course, what we talk about with infinite banking is you want as much cash value as you can, right? Because you want options to move your money. So the other opportunity with this is, are we also looking at your ability to give you more death benefit because you might be at risk of not having enough income to protect the lights, God forbid anything were to happen to you. So these are the things that we look at. We look at the whole enchilada so that we can make sure we offer you the most sound solution.
Right. And point number 2 is disability. And here's a statistic that you need to know is that 1 in 4 people by the age of or after the age of 20 will have some type of disability where they'll be out of work for an extended period of time. What happens if that's you? What happens if you have to reduce your income for a 2-year period because you can't go to work? What happens to the system that you're trying to create? What happens to the lifestyle? What happens to the investments? What happens to all the passive income that you were contributing to, the infinite banking strategy that you were contributing to in the event this happens?
Yeah, because again, I continue to throw context to this because you want infinite banking, you want policies, and we can totally serve you with that. The biggest thing that we want to make sure is how long can you maintain these policies? So that's why going back to the analogy of plugging the holes. If you are disabled, all of a sudden, for some reason, you got hurt on the job and you can't work for 2 years, not only can you keep the lights on, can you also continue to pay your policy premiums so that way your legacy is no longer at jeopardy. And then also you can continue to pay the loans back and manage the cash effectively. Those are the things that we look at.
Right. We've insured the house, we insured the car, but have we insured the asset or the engine that pays for the house and the car?
100%. Now, step number 3, we're going to call this the disruption risk. How dependent are you as it pertains to your income? Are you dependent on 1 income, 2 income? Are you dependent on the market only giving you positive returns?
Are you dependent on one client?
what does that look like for you? Because we know for Darius and I, for example, he was laid off, and that significantly affected our financial household because he was the breadwinner. And so that lesson, it was a blessing once we realized it, is it made us realize like we can no longer be dependent on one income, my income, whatever it is. We have to create other opportunities for us to make sure that if one income is down, the lights stay on and everything else continues to function as it should.
Right. The experience we had is that our household income dropped by 60%. So if you had to live off of 40% of your income as a household,
Can you do it?
can you do it? And if you can't do it, what are you doing now to make sure that you're doing these fire drills to make sure that you're able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Because life happens and we never know what can happen, but we can prepare ourselves for it.
Exactly.
For that risk.
Exactly. So these are all options that we're bringing to the table so that you can have this conversation at home and determine where do I need to get started. So let's jump into number 4 as you are evaluating your ways to be indestructible as it pertains to your income. And the last one is just freedom, right? You decide you want to walk away. What do you do in that case?
Right.
How does everything continue to function if you decide, you know what, I'm out?
Yeah, if you decide to walk away today, what assets will you be dependent on to maintain your income? Is it
Reliable?
is
First
it
and foremost.
is it a 401k? Most people have 401ks. Are you dependent on that 401k if you were to leave your job? Because you'll get access to it, but there still may be penalties, tax penalties, if you access it. Because remember, that's income that's supposed to be locked up for your retirement. And if you quit your job and decide to do something else, you'll have access to those funds. But is it enough? Is it what you expect?
And with that also too, what Darius is saying with taxes and penalties that could be accrued is the point with having something considered a nest egg, right? A nest egg is something where you're going to continue to draw money from, and you're not refilling the top of the funnel.
Right.
So what we're thinking about is, do you have cash flow, meaning mailbox money that's consistently coming in, and you're not draining a particular asset, and you're not selling assets in order to make things work for you. So these, again, are the 4 things. So we're talking about death, we're talking about disability, we're talking about disruption, income disruption, and then also options. What options can you create in your household to ensure the number one asset, your income? And then we start layering some complexities to this process. And based on the 4 points that we talked about, we as Wealth Nation can see where you're exposed. And we may recommend disability insurance. We may recommend term insurance or whole life insurance, depending on where you are, right? Maybe you're a high income earner, but you don't have any disability opportunities. And that way and that means you're at high risk.
You're exposed.
You're exposed. If your income goes away, you're a high income earner and your family is dependent on that. Or maybe, right, you're a high income earner and you don't have any death benefit. Those are other opportunities that will look at the holistic approach that we take to make sure that we provide you with the solutions that make sense to you now.
Right, because before you build infinite banking strategy, before you start building your cash value, you need to make sure you have a stable foundation. That's the first and foremost, the most important thing. And regardless of your income, regardless of the fact that you have all these other assets, if you build it on a foundation that's not stable, then you put yourself and your family at risk.
Absolutely. So with that being said, if you want to work with Wealth Nation so that we can serve you in creating a holistic plan to serve your entire financial picture, then definitely click on the link below so that we can serve you and your family.
And if you want to continue watching videos like this one, check out our next video, The Real Secret of Financial Control.
Remember to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.